What's happening, everybody? Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the Black Boss channel. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell. Now, today I'm here to talk about Deshaun Watson and this theory that I have. I might sound crazy. You let me know in the comments if I do. But is Deshaun Watson just as good as Patrick Mahomes? Like, what does Patrick Mahomes do better than Deshaun Watson? I mean, you got to think about the situations that they were brought into. Deshaun Watson was drafted by a Houston Texans team that's never won anything. That Bill O'Brien was the head coach / GM, and they obviously didn't draft much help on the offensive line. And then they had DeAndre Hopkins and traded him away. They had J.J. Watt, but never got him really any help on defense. And the Texans were bottom feeders of the NFL. They were making the playoffs, but they really weren't a threat to anybody until Deshaun Watson showed up. And when they drafted Deshaun Watson, who was actually in the same draft as Patrick Mahomes, Dabo Swinney said he will be the Michael Jordan of the NFL. Now, people were like, Dabo, you sound ridiculous. But the man did go to 2 straight college football championships and actually was one of the rare teams to beat Alabama, right? Like Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence. They're the only 2 guys that were able to beat Alabama in the last decade, right? Like Alabama, when Alabama gets in the playoff, but when Alabama gets to the championship game, there's not, especially the championship game, there's nobody that's beat them in the championship game besides Deshaun Watson at Clemson and Trevor Lawrence at Clemson, right? So that's what I mean by this man is talented. Patrick Mahomes, to no fault of his own, but walked into a picture-perfect situation. Andy Reid was a coach that had been to 5 NFC championship games with Eagles teams that weren't always the most talented, with an Eagles team with Donovan McNabb, who's probably not going to make the Hall of Fame, and still made it to 5 NFC championship games. That's a hell of a coach. That's a hell of a play caller. That's a hell of someone who knows what the hell's going on. The Kansas City Chiefs also had Travis Kelce. They also had Tyreek Hill. Now, to the Chiefs' credit, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce were not early first-round picks. Tyreek Hill went in the 5th round. And Travis Kelce, I'm not for sure. I can look it up. But I don't think he went in the 1st round at all either. So to their credit, they picked really good players and they developed really good players. They picked really good players and they developed really good players. To no fault of Patrick Mahomes at all. And then the fact that they traded up from the 20s, they were in the late 20s. I think it was from 27 to pick number 10, ironically with Buffalo, to get the guy that they saw had the most upside. He wasn't the most polished. He wasn't the most refined, but he had a rocket arm and he had a ton of potential. A ton of potential. Really good athlete. He's drafted in baseball. Rocket for an arm, literally a damn cannon for a right arm, and a ton of potential. Whereas Deshaun Watson had minor injury history. He had torn ACL before. He had a thin frame, but he had all the experience and all the winning in the world. All the experience and all the winning in college that you could possibly have to not go to a school named Alabama. Like, think about it. The only reason why Alabama's dynasty ain't won 8 or 9 championships is because of Deshaun Watson and what he was doing down in Clemson. And then what he was able to do, set it up for Trevor Lawrence to want to come to Clemson. Yeah, that's why Clemson is the way it is. Clemson was a good program at Dabo's beginnings, but they turned it up a notch when they got number 4, when they got Deshaun Watson. He's that good. And I'm willing to say, you put him, if he would have swapped places, now it's a bunch of woulda, coulda, shouldas, if, with. But if you would have switched them places, if Kansas City would have took Deshaun Watson at number 10 instead of Patrick Mahomes, I believe they would have the same level of success. There's no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind, they would have the same level of success. Why, Jeff? Why would you say that? Because Deshaun Watson is that good. Deshaun Watson, think about this. A team that went 4-12. Normally when teams go 4-12, when they're that bad, the quarterback had a bad year. Look at the other teams at the top of the draft. Because the Texans should have the number 3 pick. But look at the other teams at the top of the draft. You got Jacksonville, who's went through like 4 quarterbacks this year. You had the Jets, who Sam Darnold was horrible, 15 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. And then you have the Dolphins, who has the Texans pick, which would have been number 3. And look at their quarterback play. 33 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions, completed over 70% of his passes, and led the league in passing yards, 4,800, over 4,800. That's not a – how do you do that? on a team that goes 4-12. How are you still able to put up those kind of numbers? Average over 300 yards passing a game while still completing over 70% of your passes and have less than 10 interceptions and have over 30 touchdowns. That's because he's that good. Three straight Pro Bowls at the age of 25. That's why people are saying when he gets traded, it will be the biggest trade in the history of the NFL because the man is in the prime. Hell, he might not even be in his prime yet. He's still ascending. He's 25 years old. I'm watching Tom Brady in the Super Bowl at 43. And Tom Brady doesn't have half the talent, or at least didn't at 25, that Deshaun Watson has. He's that good. And I believe if you would have put him in Kansas City, they'd be going for their second straight Super Bowl as well. You can't convince me otherwise. The numbers tell me so. What I've been able to watch him do in Houston as that team implodes, just self-destruction, he continues to ascend. I don't know if Patrick Mahomes could have did that. Patrick Mahomes couldn't win 6 games in college. Deshaun Watson was winning championships. Patrick Mahomes couldn't win 6 games in college. It's like, oh, Jeff, he didn't have the weapons of Deshaun Watson. Absolutely. But at the same time, he was throwing a bunch of interceptions, wild and out of control. He had to sit for a year behind Alex Smith, and then he learned the game. And he's become what some believe will eventually be the greatest football player or greatest quarterback in the history of football. Deshaun Watson's, I think, is just as good, just as talented. Those are my thoughts. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, I'm Jeff Lightsy Jr. at the Black Boss Channel. Hit the thumbs up button. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to come check us out. Victory Formation Sports Show happens every morning, weekday morning from 8 a.m. Central to 9 a.m., 9 a.m. Eastern to 10 a.m. Check us out. I'll see you guys next